Now, there's no argument about the fact that color is tricky, and learning how to understand and use color in a painting can be really difficult. And that's why today I'm sharing with you an exercise that you can do, and I'm going to be demonstrating it to you so you can follow along of exactly how to break down color and how to use it in a painting. And it's actually this exact exercise that I did myself as an art student years ago that really helped me to understand color for kind of really the first time. I had been painting for a while at that point, but I never quite was able to grasp just how to actually use color and how to understand color and how it functions. And going through this process really opened my eyes and really helped me to understand how it works. And I honestly really moved forward quite quickly after that. I was really struggling a lot, but then once I went through this process, things really opened up for me. So I really look forward to just going through this painting with you. Now, before I get started though with a demonstration, I first want to give a little background just about color in general. And first off, the reason why color is so difficult is because we as humans tend to see objects for just the colors that they are. For example, like a lime is green, or an orange is just orange, or a red brick is just red. We don't really, we tend to, I should say this, we tend to paint what we think we see, but not what we actually see. We don't really paint, that reflection that we see kind of on the orange of this blue wall that's next to it, that's kind of giving that a little bit of a blueness to the orange. So because that would kind of destroy our thought of like, oh, the orange is just orange, and we have to make sure it looks orange. So we don't really consider all these nuances that are involved. And there's a lot when it comes to painting. There's a lot of nuance. And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into just in this video. Now, what I'm going to be sharing today in my demonstration is really not new. It's been around for centuries, and it's based upon how the greatest masters of color thought and worked. And the greatest masters were the Venetian, the Dutch, the Flemish, the Spanish artists of the 16th and 17th centuries. So artists like Tintoretto, Titian, Veronese, Velázquez, Vermeer, Rubens, they all thought in color in this very just simple way in terms of just one color spot placed next to another color spot. And so it creates this just dazzling patchwork of colors that really work well together. And in a way that's actually a quote taken from Charles Hawthorne, and he talks about color spots a lot. And his book actually I have. Hawthorne on Painting. If you don't have a copy of this, I really recommend that you grab one. It's not very expensive. He's inspired and influenced artists for decades. However, I have a lot more that I can share and show with you just in this video format here. All right, so here is our painting project. So this is a pear that's on a cloth that I'm painting. I'm painting this from life. So I have a real pear sitting there that I'm looking at painting from. I did take a photo of the still life setup that I was looking at so that you can just get an idea of what I was seeing and the colors and the values and just kind of what the setup actually looked like. But there are differences, of course, in the perspective, the colors, the values, and what I was seeing in real life versus what actually shows up in the photo, because there are, of course, always differences in those things. So for the background area and the foreground area, I'm just laying down a single color, and I'm really just breaking this down into the absolute simplest forms. And this first stage of the painting I'm calling the first statement, and this is going to be split up into 3 different stages. I'm going to have the first statement, second statement, and third statement. And for this first statement, we are really just putting down and painting the absolute essentials here. So just breaking them down into just really, really big spots of color. And doing this helps us to be able to see the big picture and large areas. It's actually really important to be able to see these things and break them down in this way. To be able to build a strong foundation to build upon, you have to have this in place in order for your painting to work. You have to be able to see these large, big areas that work together. And this cast shadow is a single spot of color, and you can see how this comes together. The painting has a sense of light, and you can see just that those really large areas of color and how they work together. Now, before we get any further here, I want to add a quick note just about the process of how this is being painted. So this is being worked up in a more blocky way. By no means does this mean that you need to paint in this manner. This process of going about this is just training your eye how to see colors. Because when you focus on color alone by itself, without getting distracted by everything else, you learn a tremendous amount and you really move forward quite quickly. So you don't need to worry about edges and transitions and all those things, but make the color do that work. Make the color create those soft edges, those hard edges, all of those things. So that's what we're doing here. And we're working on the color, doing the hard work for us. And again, doesn't mean at all that you need to paint in this blocky way. I personally do not paint like this. However, going through this process of painting in this way, of not worrying about, creating soft edges, etc., is just a tremendous exercise. And look at this as that itself, just an exercise. It's like doing scales on the piano or violin or cello. That's what this is. It's really training your eye how to see color. All right, so now we're moving on to the second statement. But before I kind of get in and break down color spots even more, I want to adjust this yellow area. It actually kind of blends in rather well into the white background. And so I want to adjust that first before moving on, because it's a lot easier to adjust that kind of in the beginning versus later on in the painting process. So now in the second statement, we're still keeping things really simple, but we're breaking colors down further. So of course there's more nuance happening within these large areas of color. And so I'm going to break them down further. And so there's a slightly softer transition between that really dark shadow area on the right side and then that really light yellow area on the left. And so we're creating that transition from one side to the other. And now doing this really helps you to pay attention to these actual transitions and really look deeply at what the color actually is. And it really is this beautiful kind of greenish color, but it also has a little bit of orange in it. So it's a little bit warm, but then it has this really bright, cool yellow brilliance to it. And here I'm also now breaking down that area in the shadow part of the pear. So that bottom part, it's a little lighter in value and it's also a little cooler. And the reason why is that we're getting that reflection from the white part of the fabric. And so, there's reflections happening all over. And anything that you're looking at in just nature and life, things are being influenced and affected by all the colors around them. Nothing sits in isolation. There's always different varieties of colors being bounced off one another. They're all being influenced. And so this is really why we have to really look deeply at every color spot and really consider it and understand it and really see it and kind of paint with our eyes and not just paint what we think we see, because it's so easy to get just kind of go on autopilot and just think, okay, it's green, everything's kind of light yellow green, and then kind of move forward with that, but that isn't the case. So now kind of moving forward from that area below, and here I'm darkening that kind of core shadow area. And it's a really interesting color because it's cool, but then it's warmer as well. It's kind of warmer than the other areas. Now, as you've most likely noticed, I'm painting this over, of course, a wet painting. You could wait for your first statement to dry before doing this kind of second statement, but you can also do what I'm doing. And I very often, what I do is I actually scrape away. You probably noticed me do that just as I'm doing right there. Scrape away the paint so that it doesn't get mixed with just that color that I'm applying to that area. So it's kind of just more pure color that I'm doing because I'm mixing it, of course, precisely to what the color it needs to be, or what I'm hoping that it is the right color. Of course, I'm adjusting on my palette and kind of working on finessing it, which is always the case. It's always, at least I need to do that. I need to always adjust my color a little bit after applying it to my painting. Then I can more readily notice and see, oh, does it need to be cooler or darker, warmer, kind of what direction do I need to take it? So that really helps. So right here, what I'm painting is this kind of design on in the foreground area and the background area, just on the cloth that the pear is sitting on top of. So that is what I'm painting, kind of there are these flowers that are there, kind of a bit more designed, so to speak, the flowers, and they're this kind of pinky sort of rose color. And as with everything else, I'm really thinking of this through the lens of spots of color, areas of color, patchwork of color, however you want to state it and put it. Now I'm moving forward here to this cast shadow that we find beneath the pear. Just so happens to coincide with a leaf, this green leaf that's printed on the fabric, and it's rather green. And you can see that reflected again, kind of I was speaking and talking about reflected colors and areas. That's reflected into the pear. You can see how that cool greeny kind of quality is there. All these areas are related to one another. Nothing is in isolation. Everything gets influenced and affected. Just like we do as people, when we're around certain people, they do rub off on us, or when we're influenced by music and things and literature. The same is true with colors. When you put it in a certain environment, it's being influenced by everything that it's surrounded by. Now here we're still in statement 2 stage of the painting, so we're keeping things still really simple, but of course diving further into really breaking down these color spots into smaller spots of color, so kind of getting more specific. For example, right there, we've put in a highlight area that we see on the left side of the pear, and so really working with this really, really light color spots. Now what I'm placing here, the color that I'm placing on the bottom part of the pear that's kind of touching the foreground area, is really important. It's this really warm kind of orangey color, and it is that color because that pattern is kind of this pinky red, and that's being reflected onto the pear. So we have a real life example of just how kind of colors reflect off of each other and bounce off one another, and it's so important to pay attention to each and every kind of area of color in order to capture that. If you don't do that, if you don't really take the steps to break down the spots of color and capture those, then you won't get them. But when you put down a spot of color, you don't just leave it and forget it. If you kind of find, and it actually, most likely this will be the case, because this always happens to me, unless I'm the only person, but I don't think so. When you come back to a place and you kind of see, oh, it doesn't actually work so well, kind of, and that is very common, kind of, especially as a painting develops, you are kind of refining it and you're realizing, oh, this needs adjustment. So that is true kind of for, I was fixing that area on the kind of left middle part of this pear, and it's definitely was a little bit more greenish, kind of this sort of bright yellowy green color. Now I want to make an important note at this stage here. We're now entering into statement 3 of the painting. So we're going to be breaking down color spots even further, getting more specific and really capturing just more subtle kind of shifts in color and value in the painting, and really learning how to capture greater detail and specificity. And now I'm working on the shadow area on the pear and deepening the color, making it a little bit deeper, darker, and really kind of trying to capture that kind of bright greenness of it. It's rather cool, but it also has a hint of warmness to it, kind of mixing a little bit of orange into the color to capture that orange quality. I should say subtle orange quality, also mixing a little bit of yellow. Now moving down to the bottom part of the pear and getting a little bit of that warmth that we see there that's reflected from the bottom parts of the kind of that foreground area that is there. However, it's cooler on the right side, and it would make sense because we have that white being reflected. White is a very cool color, and also kind of that green that's being reflected onto the pear is kind of adding to the coolness of the area. And shadows have colors too. No matter how gray a shadow might look to you, it has color in it. And it has lots of color actually in it, depending upon kind of what is surrounding it. And there's a lot of colors here. There's some greenish areas, bluish areas, purplish areas. Really important to pay attention to that, because that is what's going to really make your painting stand out when you pay attention to those subtle shifts in color and also, of course, value. The next time you're at a museum or when you're looking just in an art book, just notice how the old masters, how they paint their shadows, and you'll see just how they really capture the color in shadows. They see it. So really train your eye to observe carefully when you look at shadows of all kinds, cast shadows, shadows on objects, everything, and really pay attention to those. All right, so you can see here I've moved a little bit further into the painting and I'm adding some really final, more specific spots of color, especially kind of in that background area as it gets a little cooler and darker in value as you go back. And it's a little lighter here in the front. It's this kind of really brilliant, bright white that we see there, which will also help to kind of bring that area a little bit more forward. And it's when you pay attention to specific spots of color, it really helps to make everything work together more. It will help to create a greater sense of space. It'll help to create volume in whatever you're painting. It's the spots of color that you place next to one another that really create a sense of space and three-dimensional space, three-dimensional volume. If you do that correctly and really observe, it will happen. It's not so much the drawing, getting the drawing accurate. It's all about the colors that you place next to one another. And when you really pay attention and work at getting those color spots to work well, the drawing will take care of itself. The kind of the proportions, they will come in place. So now I'm wrapping up this painting, really capturing those final areas that I want to touch on and work on. And again, you can see we've kept this really blocky and really focused on just really clear spots of color. And this is an exercise. It's something to train your eye with. It doesn't mean that you need to paint like this. I don't paint like this, just in my own work. But this is a great exercise for just working through the process of seeing and painting with color. Thank you for joining me for that demonstration. Now, if you're interested in really mastering color and diving much deeper into this topic, I actually have a whole course called Painting with Color that will help you with just that. I have a link below for you to check out if you're interested, and don't hesitate to ask any questions. Now, I also have a free color mixing starters guide when you sign up for my free email newsletter. You can find a link below for that as well. Now, if you have any questions or comments, I love hearing from you, so please leave that below in the comment section. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.